Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch. If you're new here, hello, my name is Kloee Taylor, and today we are going to be diving into what spirits are around you right now, what spirit guides, what ancestors, angels, basically what energies are around you and what they're helping you to do. So how many are really prominent right now and what specifically they're helping you with, what they're like. And I'm really excited for this reading. I do want to let you know before we jump in that if you're seeing this video the day that it goes out, I have put a new restock on my readings in to my website. So if you're wanting to book me for a private reading, there is a fresh restock that just went up. And here you'll see the little thing for it. It'll of course be linked down below. I do tend to sell out of readings within like the first couple days that I post them. So if you're considering snagging one, make sure that you do so as that is like the only time that you can. I don't have them on any kind of schedule. It's really just where I have time to do them. So sometimes I go months without restocks. Sometimes it's like, I do a few of them back to back. It really depends on what is going on in my life. So definitely give it a check in if you are wanting that. And let's go ahead and get into this reading. So I do want to put these crystals and seashell rather on the cards. I'll tell you a little bit about them if you need more help choosing. First and foremost, this is pile number 1, which says your wish is coming true, celebrate your success. Pile number 2 is you are safe, the universe has your back. Pile number 3 is a new beginning, have courage to open a new door. And pile number 4 is trust, faith in the power of the universe. Now, if you need extra help in making a choice, I am going to go ahead and lay these crystals on these cards and tell you a little bit about them. So for pile number 1, we do have this seashell, and this seashell actually came from the beach outside my house. I don't even know who found it. It might have been my best friend or my husband, but it's like basically kind of like, it looks like it was maybe like a snail shell at one point that the water just like really wore away, and now it has like this tube like you could look through it, which is really cool. It's very smooth too because the water like smoothed it out. So very cool. That is going to correspond to pile number 1. Pile number 2 is this radiant piece of hematite. I'm trying to kind of show it to you in the light. So it's hematite that has been coated in what looks like almost like a resin glitter. And I don't like to normally purchase crystals like this. I prefer like raw or like just tumbled crystals. But when I put this in my hand at the crystal store recently, I knew that it had to come home with me. It feels very like grounding and just like overall a really like good crystal to kind of ward off negative energies. So that is going to go here with pile number 2 with you are safe. Pile number 3 with new beginnings, we have this rose quartz heart. This actually came from Bow Life's store. It came with a deck that she sent to me, and this crystal has good energy. Every time somebody that I know picks this crystal up in my house, they comment on it. It just has really good energy. Whenever I'm like feeling down, I put it in my pocket and carry it around. It's known for opening the heart chakra, and it's just good vibes. Okay, so pink rose quartz heart we're putting for pile number 3. And lastly, another one of my favorites. This is a piece of citrine, probably the only real piece of citrine that I actually own, because citrine, if you see citrine that looks kind of like amethyst, but it's yellow, Asotero actually taught me this. That is actually just amethyst that has been like cured in a certain way. This is what citrine actually looks like. So citrine is known for helping to create more abundance in your life, as well as help the solar plexus chakra. So these are the crystals. And if you still feel like you're not sure, be sure to check out the timestamps for these readings, because sometimes your lucky number will be present, or the emoji that I put there for the corresponding reading is one that like signifies to you. So I'm going to go ahead and quiet up now and give you some time with these different piles so that you can make a decision decision. Please know that you're never going to choose wrong. And if you feel drawn to more than one pile, that's okay. Some people listen to the entire video from the first pile to the last pile and then decide at the end which pile resonated with them the most. It's completely up to you. And let's go ahead and get that meditation music going. Okay, so pile number one, if you chose your wishes coming true, celebrate your success. Like I meditated a little bit with each pile beforehand, and I got the message that you had two energies or two spirits that are really clinging to you right now. And these are like, none of the intention I set was for like malefic. So this is all like benefic or like positive energies that are working with you to help you. And I do feel like that most of them that came through today in every pile were spirit guides, but this is what I can tell you about them. First and foremost, they can see that you are not celebrating yourself enough. You are not looking at all of the hard work that you've done. And you are definitely struggling with this idea that like other people can have nice things and have what you desire, but you can't, or you can't get there, or you're not willing to put in like a certain amount of work, or you think the work's going to be too much, or there's like a shortcoming that you think that you have when it comes to putting in dedicated work towards something. And I say that because we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Emperor coming out reversed for you. And so this is like not really being your own boss, not really working towards something diligently. And the guide that's trying to help you wants you to know that like this is actually a good thing, because there is this like major belief in today's society, and ooh, my ear just started ringing. Whenever my ears ring when I'm doing readings, I feel like it's just like confirmation that I'm about to hit on something serious. But there is this belief in today's world that you have to work really hard. Like if you're a small business owner, you have to hustle. If you're a content creator or an influencer, you have to like struggle and hustle and hustle and hustle. And you're not going to get anywhere if you don't. And these energies that are working with you, both of them are actually here to show you that there's an easier way, that putting diligent consistency towards something is going to benefit you, but you don't have to do it at the sacrifice of yourself. And this is like the outdated way of doing things. And you're not here to do it in an outdated way. You're here for what is coming with modern time, and why your soul even chose to incarnate at this time is to observe this and then implement it into your own life. So Nine of Pentacles, the Sun, Two of Wands coming up. Again, there's those two energies. There's like a masculine and a feminine presence here, because the Emperor shows up as masculine. The Sun and the Nine of Pentacles are giving feminine, because number one, tigers always represent the divine feminine. That's like common knowledge in the spiritual community. And the Sun literally is like a mom and her baby, like a mom holding her baby. So both of these energies are giving masculine, feminine. But the funny thing is to me is it's almost like the masculine presence is showing you how to actually show up in your masculine. Because as I stated earlier, sometimes that masculine presence, it shows up as hustle. It shows up as overdoing it. When you are in the wounded masculine, you show up as like basically pushing yourself into burnout. It doesn't feel good. And the healed feminine shows up as being able to rest, receive, relax, and be open to being supported by the ecosystem, by the earth, by the energies that are around you. And I'm sorry if you can hear that. My husband is working on his own thing right now, and he has been in and out of this house so many times today, and our door is really loud. So I'm sorry if you can hear the door open or close at any point in time. I love him very much for doing all the things, but a little bit disruptive. So with these two energies though, I feel like both of them are here to help you balance these energies in yourself, because your wish is coming true. Celebrate your success. What you desire has the ability to come through you, to be born through you. And because of that, you need to work on balancing these energies right now, because once you receive your manifestation, your wish coming true, those things, if you're imbalanced going in, it's going to create misery once you receive what it is that you're after. So that's what these guides are here helping you do. There's two of them, and they're helping both sides of that energy. They're helping that yin and yang energy to manifest in a like smoother way through you. And so if you're being met with any contention right now, these guides are actually first of all, you're being triggered for a reason. And I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but you're being triggered for a reason. Being triggered is actually what pinpoints to you where more work needs to be done, where you need to come to acceptance or come to a place of believing something different or rewriting your story or changing a belief system. When you are triggered, you are made aware of what is not currently serving you. So just keep that in mind, that you're not being triggered because you're meant to just like suffer. If you're being triggered by hustle culture or working too hard or feeling like it's not flowing or like you can't get it right, number one, you have spiritual teams and two spirit guides in particular that are helping you with this. But also, sorry, I'm trying to like listen, because my psychic gift is really rooted in clairaudience. So sometimes I have to like pause and listen. Can you just take a deep breath for me? Just in through the nose, out through the mouth. I'm seeing that your solar plexus chakra might be a little bit off as well. And this is something else that they're helping you to recalibrate or rebalance. Like there's this like piece of you that wants to really put themselves out there and show their true self to the world. But there's a lot of fear. And when there's a lot of fear in being the authentic self, it can show up anywhere in the chakra system. But when it shows up in the solar plexus, this is like, we feel like there is something inherently wrong with us. We feel like people don't want to see us, like we're weird and everybody else is okay. You're not weird. Let me say that a little louder for those of you in the back. You're not weird. Like, we literally are all just out here unsupervised trying to figure it out. And there is no one person that has it more figured out for you specifically. I feel like your guides just needed you to hear that. Okay, so what else are they helping you with, these two? Number one, they're helping you to get over your fear of rejection. You are very scared of being rejected by people, by colleagues. You're very scared of rejection. You're also afraid to let people love you, or maybe even to love yourself too much. Like, there might be this internal belief that you believe if you like basically cater too much to yourself that you're going to become like conceited or a bad person or too selfish. And they're working really hard to help you see that when you love yourself above all, that is actually when you're able to love other as much as you love yourself. Loving yourself is like the first step into being able to love everybody else, because honestly, when you constantly only put love into others and not into yourself, it's a disrespect to yourself. You disrespect yourself when you do that. You disrespect yourself, and you also disrespect other people because you show them that you're not worthy of the love that you so willingly give. And I don't know about you, maybe it takes a special kind of like aware person, but when I see that in other people, when I see that they only give love and they don't give to themselves, nothing puts me off faster. Nothing makes me see, you have no self-respect and no boundaries, and I don't want any of what you're selling. It is actually so exciting for me. And I know that like maybe this is not common, but I think it's going to become the standard eventually. When I see people that have no boundaries or like when I see people that exert their boundaries, this is like, I don't want to say a turn on because it's not necessarily like a romantic thing, but like it's like a platonic turn on. Like I'm just like, oh, I want to be your friend because I know that you have self-respect. And I don't want to connect with people that don't have self-respect personally, especially now that I've learned what self-respect actually looks like. So these guides are helping you to create that. Maybe not be as harsh as I think I am sometimes, but when you love yourself, you respect yourself. And it allows you to give that same respect to other people as well. Because often what happens when you love on people and you don't give enough to yourself, this can actually turn into resentment. When people don't give that same level of love and adoration back to you, you can become resentful because you think to yourself, well, I can do it. Why can't you? And it creates this like negative feedback loop. So don't allow that. Have some self-respect and love yourself first. We also have determination. So like I said, your solar plexus really is needing some attention with this yellow card. Yellow corresponds to the solar plexus. We have it over the sun card as well, which is very like yellows and oranges, but they're also helping you to become more determined. I feel like you keep stopping before you get started. And don't get me wrong, I think there's a lot of power in stopping before you start. There really is. There's a lot of power in before you get started on an endeavor. If you get like a snag hit your plan, there's value in slowing down and addressing the snag before just carrying forward, because if you don't like address the loose thread, the whole thing could just unravel, right? So I do think that there's value, but I also think that it's a balance. There's nuance to that, because if you are constantly stopping after you take one millistep, like tiny little step forward and assessing, you're being too much of a perfectionist. And perfectionism, these two guides, I need to tell you, they are tough. Like the energy of them it's not that it's not loving, but I feel like you don't listen. And this has come up before in a reading in the past. Like I want to say like 3 or 4 readings ago, all of the readings I did that day were very tough love. And I'm not used to that. I'm not used to channeling that, because usually the guides that are attracted to me and like helping you are way more like soft. But these two guides in particular, they're not necessarily soft. And it's not because they don't have love for you, but they're tired of watching you start and stop. Because you're not in that anymore. You're not in this like, oh, I've started and now I need to assess again. It's like, it was a way that you used to do things that really served you, and maybe something that you learned through like school or other people, or maybe even like a therapist. But it's not helping you. And it's there can come a point where sometimes the stopping, it's like you're nitpicking too much. You're nitpicking yourself too much. You're nitpicking your projects too much. And you're not getting anywhere. You're floundering. And it's because you're not just like, if you're giving 110% of yourself to everything that you do, you are disrespecting yourself. Because if you're giving 110, what percentage of you is left to give to yourself, to give to people that you care about? Number one, what percentage is left for you? If you're already overextending yourself, if you're giving 110 of yourself, you're overextending. Like, we need to stop spreading this message that everything should be given 110%. No, it shouldn't. You should never be giving 110% of yourself, because that, to me, if there's only 100% of you and you're giving 110, that means that you are overextending what you have. And even 100% is an overextension, because you shouldn't be giving all of yourself to everything and everyone else and leaving no room for yourself. It is my personal and professional opinion, and the opinion of these guides that are being loud about it, which I'm very much agreeing with them in the moment, that you really shouldn't be extending yourself beyond, like, I'm going to say at a max capacity, 70 to 80%. And that's like you on a really good day, because that only leaves 30 to 20% left for you. Ideally, you would want to be hitting that at like 40 or 50%. But on a really good day, we can reach a little higher. So stop trying to slow yourself down so that you can make it perfect. Because the problem is that you're getting too caught up in this and you're not taking enough action forward. And especially if you feel like you're trying to balance masculine and feminine energy right now, because these two energies are doing that. They're helping you with that. But something that I feel like I don't hear enough as we're hearing this like huge rise in the divine feminine, which is a beautiful thing. We need it, right? The world needs it badly. But something that I'm not hearing enough of is what happens when we do too much of divine feminine and we're out of balance and we don't honor the masculine. I'll tell you exactly what happens. What happens when we don't have balance between these two things is that we start to be too slow. We don't get up and excited about anything. And we create this stagnancy, because the divine feminine, when it is too excessive, it creates stagnancy. We need that divine masculine to motivate, to help us to kind of rise up and get excited and passionate about things. And neither energy should be demonized. They're both beautiful gifts, but if we spend too much time in either or, they can become imbalanced. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening, is we've been putting too much emphasis on a lack of the masculine, a lack of bossing up and doing the thing. Probably, I'm going to say that the reason this is coming up the way that it is that we've done a lot of that in today's world. And now there's a lot of fear being put out into the world that says, like, don't hustle, don't motivate, don't do this, don't do that. And don't get me wrong, I think a lot of that information is good. We need to hear it. A lot of us are overworked, underpaid, and like obsessed with productivity. However, nobody's talking about how we have productivity, but we also have rest at the same time. Because I believe that it's technically three things. It's rest, play, and work. And don't get me wrong, I don't think we need to dream of labor. I don't think you have to dream of having a career. I don't think divine masculine has to be about the career. Divine masculine can just be what makes you passionate in life, what gets you up and gets you going and revs you up. That should be your number one indicator, pile number one, that you are on the right path with something. Is it the first thing you think about in the morning? Especially if you're listening to this and you're wanting like a business to succeed, is it the first thing you think about in the morning? Can you not wait to get to it? And if that is not the energy that you're bringing to the table, the plan does need to be reassessed. Because I mean, even from one entrepreneur to another, if I could just speak so plainly for a moment, Every single thing that I have ever done that has been successful in my own, and I've done a lot. I've done a lot online. I've talked about this in numerous episodes of my podcast, Divine Authenticity. Like, I used to be in the gaming sphere and I got pretty popular doing that. And then I moved over to spirituality and I got pretty popular doing that. Every time it has started from a spark that I couldn't stop doing because I was so excited. That should be the energy that you start with. And so if it's not calling to you like that, it's not your calling. And it doesn't mean that pieces of it can't be your calling, but if there's like one thing that I could say, just from me to you, this is not necessarily these energies right in this moment, wait for the thing or look for the thing that you can't stop thinking about, that you're so excited to get to, because only beautiful things are going to come from that energy. And you're being so supported right now in creating a very delicate balance into getting exactly what it is that you want. Okay, we also have for you, make a decision. What did I tell you? I literally told, I'm not trying to laugh at you. I'm sorry. I'm laughing in Gemini moon, okay? I laugh when shit's uncomfortable. I can't help it. I'm not laughing at you, I promise. Make a decision. So stop assessing. There's nothing else that you need to assess. Just make the things, put them out there. No more waiting. How long have you sat on these ideas, on these creations, on the things that you said that you would do, on the habits that you said you wanted to make? How long? Plans work, but they don't work unless you decide you want to put steps into making them happen. So delight, speak your truth. So that's another thing that these guides are helping you with is, as I was talking about earlier, if you inherently feel like there's something wrong with you, like you're not good enough, you shouldn't open up, people are going to think you're weird, this is the thing that makes you the most special. This is your secret sauce, okay? This is the thing that when you actually speak up on the things that matter to you, this is what is going to set you apart. Don't look at what everybody else in your niche is doing. Don't look at the other habits that your friends are holding. If you think they're of value to you, yeah, do that. But if they're not valuable to you, don't look at that. What habits do you want to cultivate? What makes you feel good? That is going to be the thing, is like what is true for you is not always going to be true for every other person. And these guides are helping you to realize that not everybody needs to be in your boat or be on board. You can go on your own, in your own way. Honestly, nothing feels more successful. Nothing feels more successful than when you are doing your own thing. You're taking good care of yourself. You're making moves. And the person that you have always wanted to tell certain things to asks you why you're so happy, what it is that you're doing. Nothing feels more satisfying than having that person finally reach out to you and ask, because then you can tell them, I read this book, I listened to this mentor, I started doing this habit, I started doing this thing. And then they start to implement those things based off of your truth without you having to force anything. And I don't know why Spirit's telling me to talk about that, but I feel like you just needed to hear it. So the last two cards that we have as to what these two energies are helping you do, we have Positivity, Marigold, and Attraction with the Pansy. So I love that these are both flowers, because in this deck, not every card is a flower. Some of them are like vegetables and fruits. And at least where I live, maybe not for you, it could be autumn where you are, but it's springtime where I live right now. So flowers are really coming out in abundance right now. So, this is what they're helping you do. They're helping you attract situations that are only going to benefit you. So get ready. Whatever you're trying to do, you are going to have a way made for you. And yes, you need to put action. You can't just sit on the couch and hope that it shows up. You need to do something to gain what you're wanting to gain. But there are ways being made for you right now from these two energies. And with positivity, this is like a lightness that's coming to your energy that's going to help you have you ever had an epiphany where you used to feel one way about something and then all of a sudden, like, it's like your whole mindset shifts like that. That to me is like the energy of this positivity card. It's like you are feeling down or low or some type of way. All of a sudden, some sense gets knocked into you and you go, oh, why did I ever think that way? Why did I ever believe that story about myself? I'm actually super awesome and I wish I had started doing this sooner. That's like what's coming. So these are the two energies that are around you. This is what they're helping support you do. And support you to do. And I wish you nothing but the best, pile number one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And if you would like to support me more as a creator, I, of course, have my Patreon where we put out weekly energy updates. Our community event is going to be coming up soon. It may already have been announced by the time this video is out. We do a live community event every month on the Patreon. We also put out exclusive pick-a-cards. I recently did a pick-a-book that was pretty powerful. So definitely check out the Patreon if you want to support me. If you'd like to book me for a private reading, there are readings now available on my store at KhloeTaylor.com. I will never solicit you for a reading on social media. So if you ever see that going on, please know that it's a scam. I am currently on the wait list to get my Instagram verified. So that will actually help a lot of people that have been getting scammed. It's a really big problem in the tarot community, but definitely check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my Twitter. I'm at Kloee Taylor, and my podcast, Divine Authenticity, new episodes every Monday morning. If you would like to listen, we're doing a lot of like springtime stuff on the podcast right now, astrology updates, things like that. And if this reading helped you and you are feeling generous, you are a generous soul, feel free to hit up my Cashapp, PayPal, Venmo. I do accept tips for my readings. I also have my wish list down below if you'd like to send me a gift. And I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to tell you about, but I can't remember what that is. Obviously, all my links and info are down below, so definitely check everything out. And I love you so much, pile number one. I believe in you. If nobody has told you that yet this month or this year or today, I believe in you. If these energies are supporting you, there is literally nothing that you can't have. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye. All right, pile number two. If you chose the you are safe, the universe has your back, and this piece that you almost can't see in that light of it's radiant hematite. I talked about it a little bit in the beginning. It's a very like protective crystal, I find, and it's just like beautiful. It reminds me of blue goldstone in like how it looks, but it doesn't have the energy of blue goldstone. Like blue goldstone is very like imaginative, and to me it's like good for like setting a spark in your heart. But this one is really about like grounding and protection, and the stone just like feels safe. Like when I carry this, I'm like, yes, I feel like, I don't know how to explain it. It emits that. And unfortunately at this time, I can't tell you where to get any, unless you live in Washington State. I got this in Bainbridge, on Bainbridge Island, in a little crystal store on like the main downtown drag area. They had a bunch. I can't even remember what that store is called. I would have to literally look it up. But if you're in Washington State and you want to go to Bainbridge Island, that's where I got this crystal from, was on Bainbridge Island. So in any case, let's go ahead and talk about these guides. So for you, pile number two, I sat with your pile before like even getting into the cards, and there's more than just these cards. And the number that came to me with how many energies are working with you right now, or spirit guides, etc., is 11. You had the most out of anybody, and I really got very clear that a lot of the energy that surrounds you is ancestors or like passed on family members, because a lot of them are family that are working through you to like help you. So I did not pull like one card per spirit. I just kind of was like, any of you that actually want to step forward in this reading, tell me a little bit more what you're about and what you're helping with. But just so you know, there are 11. So, and that doesn't mean that you don't have more spirit guides as well than even that. I think we all have a number of them. 11 was just the number that like you needed to hear. So like right now for this reading, 11 of them stepped forward. And 11 might be a number that's significant to you, and maybe that's why they did it that way. I'm not sure. Like maybe 1111 is your thing, but you got the Four of Pentacles, the Star, the Ace of Cups, the Page of Pentacles reversed, and the Ace of Wands. So double aces, 11, right? 1 and 1, another 11. But I feel like what they're really here for is to help you step into a new version of yourself, like create a new story, because the Four of Pentacles it's a card of like greed. So I don't know if you have like parents in your life or somebody that helped raise you that like taught you that wanting abundance is really greedy, or like they're here to help you kind of undo past financial trauma. And they're also here to help you step into a lighter way of being, because the Star card, now please remember, I'm not a therapist. Do not use my readings like therapy. If you're doing that, you're using them absolutely wrong. But the Star card does talk about having a like relief from trauma. So having the Star card show up here with the Four of Pentacles, to me, this is like the relief of financial trauma. Now the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, these are both new energies to you. These are like new guides. Two of them are coming in as new to you in this lifetime. I do get the sense that some of your guides are guides that have been with you for a few lifetimes, but two of them are new. And I just got the chills when I said that. And one of them helps you to create. One of them like inspires you to create things. And the other one inspires you to actually take care of yourself, because the Ace of Cups is all about like self-care, filling up your own cup before you go to fill up others. And then with this Page of Pentacles reversed, your guides also want you to, it's like you're afraid. Lots of financial insecurity with this reading. I don't know if you got like burned financially at one point in your life, like something bad happened, but I do get the sense that there is some financial insecurity that these guides are working with you to help. Because the Page of Pentacles reverse, now normally in the upright position, this is like innovation and making money in new ways and going after new goals and like doing it in a really steadfast way, or like coming up with new ideas. And this card, the Page of Pentacles reversed, is kind of like the opposing of that, right? So we don't really trust our ideas. We're not taking steady action. So I really feel like the guides in question that are working with you on this are they're working to help you undo that. They're working to help you like start to believe that it could be different, believe that you can do things differently, believe that you are an innovator, believe that you have good ideas. I also feel like one of your guides could be a dog. Like there's one of these guides is like a living animal. If you have a pet dog, like I'm not, or like maybe there's a dog in your neighborhood that like kind of is always around. I am seeing like a dog. I don't know why, but there's a dog that's coming out of this, and also a dragon. So I don't know if you're into like draconic anything, but dragons can be guides. So like I've seen people that have like dragons that are house protectors and stuff. So I do feel like there is like a dragon guide. The dragon guide actually helps you create. Yeah, the dragon guide helps you create. I'm also hearing that dragon flies. So like dragons, dragonflies, those are ways that your guides try to assist you. So like if you see a dragonfly, if you see a dragon, it doesn't have to be like obviously like a legitimate dragon in the sky. It could just be like you see a dragon in a movie or on a billboard or on a piece of paper or on Instagram or excuse me, or something of that regard, like seeing a dragon. I feel like nature really speaks to you, pile number 2. I also want to touch on the card, You Are Safe. The universe has your back. You have so many guides around you, also just protecting you. Like you're untouchable, pile number 2. There is so much protecting you because your light is so special that, yeah, like literally, your light is so special that you have protectors. I also just heard the 7 like star sisters, 7 sisters. If you've never heard that before, it corresponds to a constellation in the sky. I would look more into that. If that like is ringing anything for you, the 7 sisters, look into like the stories behind that, the 7 sisters. I also say that because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well, there's 8 stars there. I saw 7 originally, and then this 8th one is, maybe that's you. You're the 8th. But I really get the sense that like that story is going to be specific for you. It makes me want to like look it up because I don't know too much about that. I've only ever heard it. But I know it has something to do with one of the constellations. Further research is needed, but in any case, I would look into that. There's something about it that is going to resonate with you. But let's keep going and see what else they're helping you with. So we have anger. So they're also helping you to remove like anger and resentment in your life where maybe somebody upset you, maybe you got into a fight, maybe there was anger around money. I mean, speaking from experience here, I've told y'all multiple times, if you're like not new here on my channel, that I came from a home where my parents, to this day, I am almost 32 years old. To this day, they like yell about money to each other. They've been married for over 50 years. And like my past and where I come from, there was a lot of fear around money because I always saw it as something that divided my household. And so this could be your experience. It could also be that you like don't trust money because there's a lot of anger or resentment around where you've come from with it. Or maybe you feel like you don't have enough. Or like I said, somebody really did you dirty with money, but they're helping you to overcome this like anger and resentment around finances. Now we also have trust. So they're also helping you to trust yourself more as well as trust the universe. Because let me tell you something, pile number 2. I used to be that person that was like really, and your guides and my guides are asking me to share this with you. I used to be that person that was really pessimistic, and I would say like really shitty things like, oh, we are the virus. Like humans are the virus on this planet. We just ruin everything. And like, look at us like tearing down forests and killing each other. And for what? For what? For fucking what? I was very pessimistic and like lost on that spiral. And I don't really know exactly what happened, what changed my mind specifically, but somewhere in there, through my own healing, through working through it, through learning to trust myself and the universe, I don't see it that way anymore. I think that as humans, we really are part of this ecosystem. We're part of what is here. And like, as much as we want to support the planet wants to support us too. And we're not the virus. We're part of what is here. And just because we might have a little bit more, I don't even want to say that we're so much more conscious or more evolved, because I don't think it's that. We have the ability to have more self-awareness. And I feel like sometimes that is truly our downfall if we have one. It's that we have the ability to have self-awareness, but not everybody wants it, or they'll refuse to see it. And I really felt like I needed to tell you that, pile number 2, that like, you're not the problem. You're not a virus. You're not the thing that ruins everything. There is so much lightness to you that is being uncovered to you through these energies that are helping you to bring it out. And it's okay to trust the universe. It's okay to trust yourself, to be open to trusting yourself. And in fact, I would encourage you, if you feel like you don't have that, or you can't change your beliefs about yourself, go listen to my lucky girl affirmations. Even if you're not a girl, or no matter how you identify, they're technically gender neutral. I just called them lucky girl affirmations to basically like increase my clickability, because that's how YouTube is. You kind of have to work with the SEO and like make titles that are going to make people look at them. Unfortunately, it's difficult. It's difficult when you want to be authentic, when you got to play the game, but like, go listen to those. You can change the way that you think about yourself. You can learn to trust yourself, learn to let yourself trust that Mother Nature has got you. The universe has got you. And that's really what these energies are doing. They're helping you to build that trust. Now, we also have rest, which I think is really interesting, because I get the sense that maybe you're really angry that you haven't been able to rest. That like maybe you see other people in your life resting, or like, again, I feel like you must be really tied to similar things as me, pile number 2. We're not the same. We have different lifestyles, different stories. Like, I'm not trying to co-op you or your story, but I understand this energy. I understand what is being given to me to channel out to you, because I've dealt with this. And I feel like Spirit has such a way sometimes of bringing the right like host to share a channel if it's something similar. So remember how I told you I grew up in a house where like money was a very big contentious point, and I still work through healing those things. It's still not 100% for me yet. But I used to get so angry whenever I would see my like spouse taking a day off or resting, because I felt like I worked so hard, and I would get angry, but I couldn't figure out why I was mad. And I would be angry because I wanted to rest too, but I didn't feel safe enough to rest. I felt like I had to work to make money. I had to work to keep myself stable. I had to work to, and I'm not even talking about like the work I do right now. I'm talking about like even working in the past in like the gaming industry. I was so bitter that my husband would go to like a 9 to 5 and then come home and get to rest, or have the weekend to rest. And I didn't give myself that time. I made myself feel like I had to earn rest. And in turn, I didn't trust myself to create pockets of rest. And I would be angry and triggered anytime I saw somebody resting, because I wanted it so deeply and badly for myself, but I couldn't see it. And when you work to heal that part of yourself and let yourself rest and actually enjoy the life that you're trying to build for yourself, that's when it's going to start to actually feel good. And it's like such the unfortunate part of building a life that you love is you can't always be in hustle and productivity mode. You can't always be like, you're not meant to be always down in the trenches trying to solve the unsolvable. You're meant to learn how to trust yourself and learn how to rest, especially if this is like, resting is your birthright. You didn't come into this world just not sleeping. Like, you came into this world actually crying, eating, and resting a lot. And resting is literally your birthright. And anybody who tells you that you're not allowed to do it is full of crap. But your spiritual team, these 11 energies, they're here helping you create those pockets of rest. So if you feel triggered by seeing people rest, it's because you deeply are dissatisfied with the fact that you're not resting, and you need to create more rest in your life. I always encourage, especially on my podcast, Divine Authenticity, we talk about it all the time, new episodes every Monday, that you have to show up to rest even when you feel anxious about it, even when you feel bad or guilty or weird about it, because you're not going to allow yourself to do it until you start making it a habit. And I say a lot of these things because I saw this card coming. Pile number 2, it's like the sweetness has been sapped out of your life. And these energies are wanting you to reclaim it. They want you to see how good life is. It's like you carry this belief that the world is awful, that you're not part of it, that you shouldn't be part of it. And it's like a negative feedback loop. You keep reinstilling the belief. Did you know, and I know I talk about this all the time too, but you have a part of your brain, the reticular activating system, or the RAS, that when you have a belief, it will literally help you filter anything that goes on the contrary of that belief out. So like, I'm trying to think of a good example. If you believe that the world is a scary place, you're going to constantly filter all of the goodness that is in the world out and only focus in on the things that are negative. And your brain does this automatically because it thinks it's helping you. It's like, oh, you'd be overstimulated all the time if you were taking everything in. And so it tries to help you by filtering things out. So if you start to change your belief that the world is a good place, that you're allowed to thrive in the world, that abundance and rest are your natural states. I'm not saying it's going to come without effort, but what I am saying is you've lost this. You've lost the rest and the sweetness to life. And it's like all roads lead back to the world's on fire. It's terrible. It's awful. I'm never going to be able to create what I want. Or if you have money, you're a greedy person, or you don't think your ideas are good enough, or you're not filling yourself up enough. It's like you carry all these beliefs that they make you miss all of the goodness and the sweetness that life actually has to offer you. And you can rewrite your story at any time that you want to. And your spirit guides also want me to remind you that you are so safe. You are in the safest environment right now that could create these new belief systems. You are in a container right now that you are able to create these things. And I think I said this to pile number 1 as well. If you're being triggered, it's because that trigger is trying to open your eyes to a different way of thinking. And not like triggered by me right now necessarily, but being like triggered in life constantly. And you're angry and you're not trusting and you're not resting. You're being triggered. You're being made uncomfortable on purpose. Because in order to reconnect with the sweetness of life, you have to start writing a new story. And you're not going to write a new story until you start changing. Gosh, it's like, I feel like we are covering what like 5 years of self-development work taught me. Like, we're trying to cover a lot in one reading. But in order to create that change, you have to do things that you're not currently doing. You have to whip out that journal. You have to start putting effort towards your creative endeavors. You have to start making new friends. If you have friends that you talk to and all they talk about is doom and gloom and how everything's awful, whether it's the people you live with in your house or the people in your circle, it's time to make new friends. You need to go outside and meet new people, even if it's scary, because you're in this like negative feedback loop is what I keep hearing from your guides. You're in this negative feedback loop and it's not supporting you. You're uncomfortable because it sucks, but you're in an environment right now where you could change this, and they are here to help you, to support you to change it. We also have Be the Bigger Person with Jade and rhodochrosite. Rhodochrosite. Remember your worth. So be the bigger person. If you're angry about something, I'm not saying don't go to somebody and tell them you're upset. I think that you really always should if it's something that you believe will change things. You can like go to this person and like tell them you're angry because they just don't know. Like there's nothing good that's going to come out. But if you've done it before and they keep not changing or their behavior stays the same, it's time to be the bigger person and stop bringing it to them and move on. That I feel like is a very hard truth when it comes to relationships is if you've stated your boundaries, you've told somebody what you need again and again and again, and they still aren't giving it to you, what you're asking is something they either aren't capable of giving or they don't want to give it. And it's best sometimes to just move on if it's something that you cannot tolerate. I get a sense that there is deep anger, there is deep slight, and you could also just be angry at yourself. And it's time to forgive yourself. We also have the card of love and productivity. So love coming out with sweetness. There really is so much love for you. I think you just need to hear this. Not only do your guides love you so much, but like there are people in the world that love you, that see you with such kind eyes. And like people you possibly don't even know. Like, for example, I've totally done that. Like and I don't think it takes like a special psychic kind of person. Like, I feel like this is stuff anybody can do. Have you ever just looked into somebody's eyes and you just see them with such love for either being human, for being kind themselves, for being able to see like through those windows into the soul? I can't stand it when people say like, well, nobody loves me. You know, my husband did blank, my family did blank, my friends did blank. You have not met every person in the world yet, and you never will. There are people that you haven't even met yet that will love you. There is love for you out there, and you need to stop telling yourself that you're unworthy of it. Because you also got that remember your worth. And then productivity with the pumpkin. I love that you got a pumpkin. Pumpkins are my fave. Productivity. This to me is kind of a kick in the butt. And it's reminding you that you don't need to be a part of hustle culture to be productive. But if you know that checking things off your to-do list and being productive makes you feel good, don't let people tell you that you're not allowed. Like, I feel like there is way more nuance to hustle culture than we ever talk about. Do I think you should hustle until you're bleeding? No. Do I think that you should undercut yourself and, keep hustling when you're burnt out? No. Do I think that if you love to hustle and you love to grind, that you should do it? Yes. And I feel like if this is you and you're somebody that you like love having a to-do list and going after your dreams, your goals with high ambition, don't let people tell you that you need to rest. Like, yes, please rest because you have that card in here, but this doesn't mean that you're just going to rest forever and never get anything done. It's a balance. And it's okay if you love the hustle. You can love to hustle. It's okay. It's when you do it to your detriment that it hurts you. There is too much of a good thing. That's real. So just balance it out a little bit more and let these energies in to support you in it. And that is what I have for you, pile number 2. I hope this reading helped you out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. If you would like to support me more, please consider checking out my Patreon where we have exclusive pick-a-cards. I just put a new one out over the weekend that had some bookmancy in it where I read from books for you as well as gave you a really beautiful message from your guides. We do weekly energy updates. We have community events once a month, which we haven't had ours for the month of March yet, so it's going to be coming within the next few days. It's going to be a really good time. I'm looking forward to it. If you are feeling like a generous soul and you want to support me even further, I do have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below, as well as my wish list if you'd like to send me a gift. And if you are wanting a personalized reading with me, I do have readings available in my shop at KloeTaylor.com. It's the only place you can book a reading. I will never solicit you on social media. I'm actually on the wait list right now to have my Instagram verified. So once we get that verification, it'll be a lot easier to see who the real Kloee Taylor is, because that's really annoying. It's happening to a lot of spiritual accounts, and this is, I guess the response to it is now to like pay into verification. It's kind of annoying, but I'm going to do it because there's been a lot of problems. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to tell you about, but my podcast, Divine Authenticity. New episodes every Monday. Please give it a listen. I would love to have you there. It's a very special project near and dear to my heart. Lots of good episodes coming out. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the best. Bye, pumpkin. All right, pile number 3. This reading is different, and the last time I did one of these, everybody was confused, and I don't know why. I think they just didn't listen to what I said. Like, people just looked at the timestamps and were like, what the heck? So please just listen for a second. Your reading is different than what the other piles are, and if you feel like you want to choose again, that's okay. You're more than welcome to do that. For your reading, I knew this before I got started today, that you were not supposed to have a big card reading. Your pile in particular, when I tried to meditate on the guides that were coming to you, the energies that surrounded you, it's not that you don't have them. It's that they need you to be more open to receiving, because they cannot interfere on your behalf without your acceptance. And so I brought a candle for y'all with my special little holder. I brought this out. I've got the candle stuck in there really good. Purple candle. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this card, but I'm also going to light this candle for you and give you some time to meditate. Like I said, if you want to choose again, pile 1, 2, or 4 are still like full card readings. But for you, pile number 3, this is really like, if you felt strongly to come to this pile, this is really what you needed. So you did get new beginning, have courage to open a new door. And we have this with the pink rose quartz heart. Rose quartz is all about opening up the heart chakra. So this is really for helping you to open to more love. And I really feel like spiritually, you might even be somebody that just like questions a lot, which is okay. I think that's actually a good thing. It's good to not be swindled, right? It's good to be open and want to question. I love a curious mind. Even skepticism, I think, is a good thing. It helps us to understand ourselves and what we do believe, right? If I didn't have skepticism, I would still be Mormon, and I have been out of that religion for a long time, and I'm very grateful that I left it. But I feel like this is for those of you that either don't feel like you've ever had contact with guides before, or if you're really skeptical. So I just want you to take a minute before we light this candle. We're going to go ahead, place your hands over your heart. I'm going to do it too. I'm doing right hand over my heart, left over my right. So kind of like this, and then just over my heart. And I'm going to close my eyes, and I just want you to set the intention. You can say it out loud if you want to, or just internally. I just want you to set an intention with yourself and with your spiritual team for a moment, that the guides that are here to help support you will start showing up in your life if you're ready for it. And whether it comes by, like, the thing that I would always tell you to do is, if you want like a sign, you need to set the sign. So if 1111 is your number, say like, show me by showing me 1111. If pink hearts are your thing, say, by showing me pink hearts, I'll know. By showing, or like, you can make it like the craziest thing, like a peacock with a hat on, okay? Whatever your symbol is, so that you will believe that you have a divine hand in your life, That's what you need to set your symbol as. So come up with a symbol and just ask out loud or in your head. I always like to say, like, spirit of the highest love and compassion for the good of all involved. Can you show me by the symbol of pink hearts that you're around and that you're supporting me? And then just take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And on the exhale, you're going to drop your shoulders, drop your jaw. And then just let go. Just let go. We're going to go ahead and light this. That's going to send your intention out. It's like almost like making an offering to the universe. It's going to send your intention out into the universe. I'm going to let this burn all the way down. I am going to give you some time to meditate with this candle before I just like close off this part of the video. But I would only ask that you just try your best to let go. Don't go looking for your symbol. Don't go looking for pink hearts or peacocks with hats, or don't go looking for it. Let it surprise you, because that's how spirit guides work that way. They will surprise you. They will shock you by, like, you're just out doing your own thing and all of a sudden you see that symbol and you're like, oh, there it is. Especially if you make it something that like you feel like you would never see. So, and it can be on a billboard, on a postcard, in a magazine, in real life, like wherever you see it, you're going to start to see it everywhere. To give you an example before I turn on some meditation music for you, I did this when I was moving to Washington State. I was really anxious, like having panic attacks all the time. I was very anxious. I was really mentally unwell. And I told my spiritual team, please show me that I'm going on the right journey by showing me the number 44. 44 is our number. Like, show me 44 and I'll know that I'm okay. And when I tell you, I felt like every car on the road had a 44 in their license plate, and every truck number was a 44, and every exit felt like it was a 44. I saw this number hundreds of times as we drove out to Washington State from Utah. Hundreds. And even though I was really scared, it gave me the confidence in knowing that everything would be okay. And it was. And I'm like blessed beyond measure currently. I live in the most beautiful home. I have really good friends. I have a community now, not just online, but in person. I genuinely love the life that I get to live for the first time in my adult life. And if I hadn't made that move when I was so scared, this probably never would have happened. So I want to leave you with that. I'm going to go ahead and turn the meditation music up, give you some time. If you want to pull out your journal, this would be a really good time. If you don't feel like meditating, that's also okay. You can go and choose a different pile if you feel like another one called to you. But I would encourage you to sit with this music for a little bit and just really be open to the possibility. Like, what's the best thing that could happen? Don't catastrophize and think about what the worst thing is that could happen. Think about what the best thing is that could happen. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. All my links and stuff are down below if you want to check out anything else. I just put up new readings on my shop if you want to book me for a private reading. And let's go ahead and get into the meditation. All right, pile number 4. Oh, my editor is going to kill me because I guess, nope, never mind. I'm not going to fix it. I was going to mess with the lighting settings, but now that I'm already rolling, I can't change it. You can't edit those when you're already going. So never mind. My editor's not going to kill me. Okay. Pile number 4. If you chose the trust, faith in the power of the universe, or have faith in the power of the universe, and the citrine crystal that I have here, this is going to be your reading. So when I meditated with your pile beforehand, I got the numbers 3 and 9. Not 93, not 39, but 9 and 3, which I think is funny because 9 and 3, they're like of the same, right? Like 9 is divisible by 3. And I feel like the numbers themselves, like even if you look at astrology, the 3rd sign of the zodiac is Gemini, the 9th sign is Sagittarius. They sit across from each other on the zodiac wheel. And I feel like the numbers really go hand in hand. So I thought that was really cool. I do feel that your reading definitely talks about expansiveness and travel, which both of those numbers correspond to that. But let's go ahead. I feel like first and foremost, I need to say though, that like, I really got the instance that there are 3 guides that we're stepping forward for this reading, not 9. So it doesn't mean that you don't have 9 guides. You could have more or less than that, but 3 came through in this reading. So you got the Knight of Pentacles reverse, Knight of Cups reverse, 3 of Wands reverse, 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords. What these guides are stepping forward to help you with, or kind of what they're about, is there is a major lack of belief in the self. Because number 1, you picked up on the card that talked about trust. Doesn't mean just trusting the universe. It's also trusting yourself. And when you don't trust yourself or the universe, this can materialize as like anxiety, right? This can give us this lack of belief in ourselves. We're telling ourselves the same narrative every day that we can't have A, B, C, D, E, and F because we aren't worthy. We can't have it because of this. We weren't raised this way. We don't have this opportunity. We didn't work hard enough in the last 5 years, so it's going to be too much work. There are so many reasons that we tell ourselves that we can't. The 9 of Swords is literally just sitting and spiraling and being stressed out. And the 7 of Swords is, it's self-sabotage. It's self-deception. It's believing the things in your mind that aren't real. It also can be like betrayal from other people. But in this instance, because it's paired with the 9 of Swords, I get the sense that it's more of a self-sabotage related card. And I just want to say to you, pile number 4, if you feel like you do a lot of self-sabotaging behavior, you should definitely read the book, The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. She talks all about in that book how to overcome self-sabotage, what self-sabotage actually is. And I am one of those people, if you're somebody in my life that's listening to this reading, because sometimes people in my life read them too, if I ever send you a book, it's not because I'm like, you need to read this so it will fix you. This has the ability to change your life because it changed mine. And I feel like books, when somebody recommends a book to me, I take that shit so seriously. I'm like, oh, if you recommended it and I like really honor the person you are, or like really, like if you're living a life that I want to be living, I will take that person's book recommendations. I am getting the audiobook that day if I have the space for it. So I just want to say, like, I don't know why my spiritual team asked me to talk about like people in my life. Like maybe somebody that I know is listening to this. That's so weird. Like I never address, it's so rare that I address people in my life in any of my readings. But if I've ever like sent you a book or recommend a book to you, even like you, if you're not somebody that's like really close to me, like know that like I really do believe that you can read a book in an afternoon and you can come away with a completely different idea of what your life can look like. I really think that books are doorways into new lives. Like, truly, I believe that books can do that. And it's not because the book did it, it's because you sat there and put the energy in to being curious and opening your mind. So I don't know why that's coming up. I guess, I don't know. Sometimes channeling is like that. Sometimes stuff comes through that I'm confused by it, but like I'm just going to go with it. So 9 of Swords though, and 7 of Swords tells me that you're not in a good place. You're not feeling good. You're not feeling funky. You're not feeling fresh. We are not live, laugh, loving. You're not live, laugh, loving right now. And I would say that if anything, you're experiencing a lot of worriedness or like anxiety, and you feel like you're deceiving yourself constantly. And the guides that have stepped forward, they're helping you to be more open, to expand your horizons, to also let your intuition lead, because I feel like you're somebody that maybe a little bit like pile 3, you might have like a little bit of skepticism, which I want to honor you and tell you that skepticism is a beautiful thing. I honestly worry for people that are just always open to everything, because I feel like those are the people that get swindled, right? And it's good to like have discernment and to be a little bit skeptical sometimes before you're sure for yourself and you figure out your own truth. But the Knight of Cups coming up as a guide that's helping you right now, this tells me that you're not relying on your intuition enough. There is like, you need to get more into like, if you're somebody that does ritual, you need to get more into ritual, make it a continuous practice. If you're somebody that like reads tarot cards, maybe you've been avoiding your cards. It's time to come back to them. If you're somebody that is like a magic practitioner, it's time to get back into like the magic that you enjoy. If you're somebody that has a prayer routine, it's time to come back to praying. Like, I feel like there is spirituality within you that is being missed. And this guide is stepping forward to help you to reconnect with your intuition, whatever that is for you. Meditation, like it's whatever. I don't want to give like a specific for every single person, because for every person, your spirituality looks different. Like for me, when I want to get into my own spirituality, automatic writing is probably my number 1. I love writing. That's what like the tool that I use to work through a lot of things. But secondary is like tarot cards. I'll use tarot cards to help me decipher things, but that might not be your thing. Maybe your thing is pendulums. Maybe your thing is praying. Like I said, maybe your thing is reading books. Maybe your thing is watching documentaries. Maybe your thing is witchcraft. Maybe like the list goes on and on and on. The thing is it's not about the practice itself. It's about what makes you feel like you're at home when you do it. So for example, I was born and raised Mormon for the first 18 years of my life. Never really felt like home there. Never wanted to go to church, was never excited about it. I definitely drank the Kool-Aid. I will not lie to you about that. That is a part of my past that's a little cringy. I definitely drank the Kool-Aid, but I never really felt quite at home. I never wanted to go to church. I never wanted to go to activities. It always felt like a struggle, even if I enjoyed my time while I was there. Witchcraft, on the other hand, I felt like I walked myself home. I was like, oh, this feels so in alignment with the things that I like to do. And it's a practice that I return to because it feels right for me. So whatever feels right for you, that is what this guide is helping you do, is to connect with a spiritual practice that feels right for you. Not necessarily because it's someone else's, not because it worked for somebody else, but what is right for you. And the Knight of Pentacles coming out as another guide, that third guide reversed. It's like the Knight of Pentacles it's helping you understand that you can make money differently, that you don't have to, you can, if you want to work a 9 to 5. I want to tell you something, pile number 4, that I feel like never comes out of the mouth of Kloee Taylor, because it's not me, it's this guide. If you're okay working a 9 to 5 and that makes you happy, like, no, I would say this. Kloee Taylor would say this, but if that's what makes you happy, it's okay to want that. I feel like in today's world, a lot of us are being pushed towards entrepreneurship, and I think that's a beautiful thing. But entrepreneurship comes with its own set of challenges. And for some people, they don't want those challenges, and that's okay. It is okay to want to work for someone else and not like have to think so much all the time. Because I'm going to tell you something else. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. You are the person that does until you like hire out help. You're the customer support. You're the creator. You're the editor. You are the email handler. You're the sponsorship or brand manager. You are the person designing the color palettes. Like you are that brand and business's everything. And sometimes that's a lot. Maybe you don't want to juggle all of those things. And it's okay if working a 9 to 5 is what is going to support the hobbies and things that you do want to have in your life. There is nothing wrong with wanting to do that. Now, if that's not your thing and you want to make money in a different way where you don't have to work a 9 to 5 and you want to be more off on your own, maybe create more pockets of freedom, I would argue, here's the point that I'm trying to argue. It doesn't matter if you work a 9 to 5 or if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to struggle with freedom regardless. Because if you work a 9 to 5, you're at the mercy of somebody else dictating your vacation time, your sick time, your paid time off, or lack of paid time off. You're at the mercy of somebody else. But if you're an entrepreneur, there are no holidays. There are no sick days. There is no paid sick leave. There is no, now you can take all the time in the world that you want. If you want to take 10 days off, you can plan for that, but you have to work a little bit harder before you can take that time, in my experience of being an entrepreneur for over 10 years. You have to be the person that pushes a little bit harder instead of, well, I put in my time for these 10 days and now somebody else is going to pick up the slack while I'm gone. Now, if you run a full-fledged business and you're like the CEO and you've built something, that might be more realistic. But if that's what you're after, you can create that. But maybe that's not where you're at yet. And I just want to open your eyes a little bit more because this guide is asking me to make that known to you. That with everything, there is always a counterpoint. There is always a counterside. There is always an opposer. And it's really important that you ask yourself what kind of lifestyle you want to live, because there's always going to be things that are difficult regardless of which side you're on. Regardless of what you want to do. Maybe you want to work a part-time job and you want to work on a side hobby as well, like making that into a business at the same time. That's kind of the best of both worlds, right? So this guide is stepping forth to make you more open to understanding that the grass is not greener necessarily. It's what kind of grass do you want to water? It's not that one side is greener. There's going to be good and bad on both sides. But what kind of grass, what kind of crops, what kind of flowers do you want to grow? Because you need to water those things. And you have a very narrow scope right now of what you think you can actually achieve. And it's not helping you. It's giving you 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords energy. It's keeping you from trusting that you belong in this world. It's keeping you from trusting that the divine has a hand in your life. It's keeping you from trusting that your life could actually expand in the most beautiful way if you allowed it to happen. And you're not this is why it frustrates me so much that so much of the planet is in survival mode. And I get it. I've been there. This is not me trying to shame somebody in survival mode. It frustrates me that we as a collective don't support the individual person more. Because if we did, there would be less survival and people would feel like they could move into thrival, right? They could move into not feeling so anxious about all of their choices or not dealing in self-sabotaging behavior. Because when you're in survival, self-sabotage comes naturally. because you're conditioned to believe that if you don't work this way, you're not going to have enough to do blank. Or if you like, you can't think rationally. You can't think rationally when you're in survival. And so these 3 guides are really here to help you think more rationally, to get out of survival mode and to help you to trust yourself in the universe more, no matter what that looks like. If that looks like working for somebody else or for yourself, or like maybe you're going to become a stay-at-home girlfriend, boyfriend person, okay? Like honestly living the dream. Tell me your secrets. I'm just kidding. I feel like I actually really love work, and I think I would be lost without a job personally. I love working. I'm such a hustler, and I don't say that with an ounce of like anger or resentment. It's taken me a long time to accept that I love the hustle. Which is funny because I feel like I surround myself often with people that like really demonize hustle culture. I myself have been there, but I think I've come to terms with myself that I love the hustle. And there are times where like breaks are necessary, but I love the hustle. So in any case, that's beside the point. Sorry. These 3 guides are stepping forth to help you overcome these obstacles. That's why they're here, is to help you to lessen the self-sabotage, to be a little more clear-minded, and to open you up to trust. And it's funny that I said the word anxiety because you literally have the anxiety card. I'm going to put this one here, that these guides are here to help you lessen your anxiety. They're also here to open up your creativity to, again, new ways of doing things. It doesn't have to be a 9-to-5, doesn't have to be a full-fledged business, could be the best of both worlds. They're here to open you up to happiness and ideation. So changing your ideation. Ooh, I talked about this in a Patreon reading today. There was an exclusive reading that went to patrons only where something similar came out that like, it also could have been in one of these readings too. Spirit's been popping off with this one lately, but it's like, if you feel like the world is a scary place or a bad place, or that everything is wrong with it, you might have pockets of happiness in your life, but your happiness is like immediately destroyed when you look outside. And these guides are helping you to create new ideations and new ways of looking at things. And that's not to say that like everybody should suffer. But I do think that, at least coming from my own experience, I'm going out on a whim here, but I think sometimes some of like my greatest suffering, like it makes me think about that book, Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Frankl. Really great book, very short book, very sad book, but really good. Like, you can change the way you think about anything. And without suffering, sometimes we don't really know true joy. Like the example I always want to come back to is, I've told y'all multiple times that I've struggled with housing problems my entire adult life. I have struggled to create a firm like house foundation under me. And I have been like forced to move out of locations. I've had to move really quickly because rent got raised ridiculously. Like there have been so many instances where like bad things with my foundation have happened. And for the first time in my adult life, in November of last year, even though it was a struggle getting here, moving into the house that I'm in now is the first time that I actually feel safe. For the first time in like, since I was 18. So what is that? Like 12 years? For the first time in 12 years. Like, I feel like I have a solid foundation under me, and this house like wanted me to be in it. That's a whole other story. I have a whole podcast where I talked about it, but you could have convinced me that like I just had no home and I was never going to find one, and that I would never be happy in a space, that everything would always be miserable. I would never find joy again. Like that's where I was. And by changing my inner world, I saw my outer world. It took a little while, but I saw my outer world reflect it back. And these guides are trying to help you create more happiness in your life, create more pockets of peace, change the way that you think internally about your situation and about the world so that you can see the goodness. And like this to me is almost like Five of Cups. Five of Cups is like only focused on the bad all the time instead of focusing on the good things that you do have. And it's creating it's creating things that like really upset you. And that's ultimately these guides are like, nah, there's so much more in your life that you have room for, but you can't even see it. So they're helping you to do that. We also have Loosen Your Grip with Amazonite and Bloodstone, Get Up, Get Moving. So this is kind of funny that we were talking about housing too, because like maybe you're about to move. This is like something these guides are helping you with, is to move. But also I feel like there's a lot of seriousness to this reading, like just a lot of seriousness to the energies, to your guides. And Spirit is saying you need to like have ideas about what you want, but loosen all the control that you're holding on it. And to get up and get moving. Like stagnancy has been a really big theme of the readings today as well. Like getting past stagnancy and like just doing things, doing the damn thing. Get up and get moving. Stop thinking about the consequences. Just like, to me, it's like a moving on from catastrophizing. Then we have wholeness and trust. So trust, again, you literally got trust again with the Scorpio symbol. And wholeness with Aquarius. Ooh, number 33. That's a master number. So with the trust card coming out, I feel like this is literally a parrot of the trust card that we have that we've already talked about. But with the wholeness card coming out, I feel like something that we also need to remember is that wholeness is always attainable. You are a whole and complete person. There's not pieces of you that are missing. Like you maybe haven't activated them yet or noticed them yet, but they're there. Like you are a whole and complete person. And there's, especially with Aquarius on this card, you're not weird. Like, I don't know what else to like. You're not weird. You are a whole and complete, wonderful person. And you need to stop telling yourself that you're weird. There are so many people that act the way that you do. There are so many people, like, it doesn't mean that you're not original and authentic, but like, I feel like you have this idea that you're not whole and complete, or that you think that you're weird, or like you're so far off the beaten path that nobody could accept you. And it's not true. Like, social media has been such a gift in our world at this time because we're able to see just how many people think the way that we think, and we can connect with them instantaneously. So with wholeness coming out here, you are whole and complete exactly as you are. There is nothing inherently wrong with you. You're not weird. And you're going to connect with the right people. Like, I'm also hearing the word like cluster, like clustering together. You're going to connect with the right people, but you have to put yourself out there a little more. I feel like your reading pile number 4 was kind of all over the place, and I'm sorry about that. I feel like we just touched on so many different things. Like, even the channel was coming through kind of broken. So I'm sorry if this one felt everywhere, but thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And if you would like to support me further, please be sure to check out my Patreon, where I put out extra exclusive pick a cards that you can't get anywhere else, as well as weekly energy updates, community events, and so much more. I would love to have you. And if you are feeling like a generous soul today, obviously no expectation, but just if you're feeling it, I have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list linked down below for you. You can also book me for a private reading at KhloeTaylor.com if you are wanting to connect with me privately and ask some questions. There are several different readings that I list, so definitely check that out if you've been wanting to connect. and listen to my podcast, Divine Authenticity, new episodes every Monday. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I'm at Kloee Taylor. Nobody else has the Kloee Taylor handle. If you ever get reached out to on social media for a reading, it is a scam. You can only ever purchase readings through my website, KhloeTaylor.com. And that is everything, my beautiful soul. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye, pumpkin.